watching NRATV. And now, We Stand with Dan Bongino.
Maybe we'll just do a silent show today. We'll do like little hand motions or something like that. I called it. I called it. I told you. What did I tell you during yesterday's show about permanent victim Joy Reid? What did I tell you? If you watch yesterday's show where I addressed horrible Joy Reid's horrible comments directed at my coworker here at Stinchfield, here at NRATV, Grant Stinchfield, excuse me. This network's not named after Grant. He probably liked that, though. I told you she was going to respond, misinterpret what we said intentionally, and create another, oh, look at poor me. Oh, they're coming after me. Oh, the NRA. Oh, NRATV. Oh, this is awful. What did I tell you? So we did a segment on yesterday's show, and although I hate doing this, and I'll get to it in a minute, don't worry. I'll replay a segment of it to show you what I actually said, attacking Joy Reid's snowflake culture and her pretend victim status. It's permanent victim. She's always a victim all the time, Joy Reid, because that's what liberals do. The snowflake class loves being victims. But here was what I woke up to this morning. This classic by Joy Reid, this little tweet directed at me. I'm this person. I don't even get a name. Oh, just a Twitter handle. This person. Dan Bongino. This person. You know, if I was a snowflake, I would say like that was racist or something. It's not, but it doesn't. That's what snowflakes do. It doesn't really matter. Or it's like, you know, transphobic or homophobic or Islamophobic or Istophobic. I would think of something. This person, Dan Bongino, says I should be prepared to come back without... She quotes me wrong, by the way. Hat tip to producer Denise. I didn't even see this. I totally missed this. She quotes me wrong. This is classic. That I should be prepared to come back without my shield or on it. It's come back with my shield or on it. That you got the quote. But you would come back without your shield, Joy. You're absolutely right. On it, meaning dead. Joy, no one's suggesting you come back dead. That's you playing victim again. Or I'm practicing snowflake politics, which you are. MK? Who says MK? MK? That's MK? Aren't you like the liberals? You're in it for the little guy. You're not supposed to be the snot-nosed bow tie wearing class. MK? Who actually says that? NRATV, well done. Thank you, Joy. We appreciate that little compliment at the end. It was well done, wasn't it? Well, what did we say to Joy Reid? In the interest of time, play a snippet of my cut from yesterday. And I absolutely can't stand it when pathetic, sorry-ass far-left organizations and people like Joy Reid attack us ruthlessly with the most horrific, disgusting tweets. And then the minute you say something back, automatically she is going to jump right into the identity politics black hole, I'm sure of it. Because she's going to play the victim. Because that's snowflake culture. You need to be more part of the Spartan culture. Read that new book by Nassim Taleb where he talks about the Spartan motto. With their shield. You know, you ever heard that? With it or on it. You know what that means? You come back for more with your shield or on it. You know why you come back with it? Because if you were going to run away like a coward, you wouldn't run with your shield. It's too heavy. You would dump it. But you come back on it because you died for something that mattered. You know, be a little more Spartan, Joy. Stop being such a victim all the time. Nobody's inciting violence. Nobody's even insinuating that anyone else should incite violence. We're simply calling you out for saying really stupid things about the network and about gun owners all the time. You want to be in the public space, Joy? Get used to it. Because we're going to fire back. End of story. Gosh, we can't even say that either. I'm sure that'll fall into her somehow. So fire, oh my God, fire back. Look, that's another threat. This will be Joy. This is that's victim culture every single time. So believe me, I tape it. Denise, you got this on tape? Tape it. Because I'm sure we're going to go down the vortex with Joy Reid after this. But that's what they do. That's what they do. What did I tell you? She was going to come back and play the victim. Look, I'm being targeted by the NRA. Keep in mind, she made a ridiculous, absurd attack on Grant. So now I get it, folks. This gets boring. Oh, she said, he said. I'm just trying to express to you, this is liberalism. I'm not a victim of Joy Reid. You want to dance? Let's dance. I don't care. We can play. Oh, we can't say that either. We can't say that either. Dance. Dance could mean, everything means violence to these people. They're nonstop victims, these liberals. That's all they do. They're victims all the time. It is so weak. It is so sad. It is so pathetic and sorry and embarrassing. Always crying out for help on Twitter. Oh my gosh. said something mean. Well, Joy, this is like a bunch of little kids in kindergarten. Well, Tommy, did you say something mean to Mary? I did. Mary, did you say something back mean to Tommy? I did. But notice, we don't care. Tweet all day, Joy. The video got 120,000 views. Tweet it again today. We love it. The bottom line is, you deliberately, after I specifically said what I was addressing, your snowflake culture, where you're a constant victim. Oh, Grant Stinchfield, they say they're watching us on the network when we attack them. Yeah, that's what we do. We produce content, and when people attack it in the content arena, why are you surprised that we watch it and respond? Get the big boy pants on. Oh my gosh, that's definitely misogynistic. I'm sorry, the big women pants on. Is that? I don't know. What is that? That's some kind of it's the phobophobe response. I'm sure. I'm waiting tomorrow for the identity politics response. Now, because I've got a lot to get to, I don't want to waste the whole show on Joy Reid, who is weak and really sorry and embarrassing. Joy seems to really have a problem with rhetoric she interprets as being violent when you clearly say exactly what you meant. But let's look at some of Joy Reid's greatest hits, who has no problem, by the way, throwing out disgusting, horrifying things to other people. Put up tweet number 1 from Joy Reid, Exhibit 1. Has the NRA called for arming the students so they can fire back yet? Producer Denise, do you recall the NRA? By the way, I don't speak for the NRA, folks. I'm a content producer here at NRATV, in case you didn't know that. Joy doesn't seem to understand the difference, by the way, but that's okay, okay? So the NRA called for arming students. Have we done that? I'm pretty sure we did not call for arming a bunch of 9-year-olds. But if, Joy, don't let the truth get in the way of a stupid tweet, Joy. Let's go to Exhibit 2. This is blood and money. Blood and money. Apparently now, if you took money from the NRA as a politician to defend people's right to defend themselves, blood and money. Vile, disgusting, horrible tweets by Joy Reid. But don't let that, again, don't let it get in the way of your ridiculous nonsense victimology culture, Joy. Exhibit number 3 about NRATV. Respectfully, NRATV, respectfully, I love that. Like it's going to, diffuse anything she says. NRATV is not the equivalent of MSNBC or CNN. By the way, time out. Thank God. We actually do real news here, not fake news. It's a news network. I assume you're talking about us because you're clearly not talking about MSNBC or CNN, which is big. Their hallmark is fake news. As I said, MSNBC was only known as the network on in the background of the Deep Impact movie. It's a video outlet for the NRA designed to push their propaganda. What propaganda? Like the Constitution? God forbid. The next exhibit in this, I'm losing track of how many stupid tweets. What is that, 4 or 5? The NRA has sold savagery, freedom, and barbarism. Oh, boy. Get that off the... I can't even... So now we're selling savagery. Do you believe this? This is what... the NRA memberships. Exhibit 1, NRA memberships. Here's the $199.99, the savagery and barbarism package at the NRA. You can't make this woman's she paints herself as a wait, we got one more, don't we? We got one more. Put up the bathed in blood. This one is just sick. But this is typical Joy. The NRA is soaked and bathed in blood. How do you adherents sleep at night? I sleep just fine, Joy, with my new Kel-Tec KSG in a safe not far from me, because I have the right to defend myself and my family, thanks to organizations like the NRA and patriotic gun owners, millions of them across the country who refuse to forfeit their right to defend themselves. That's why I sleep fine at night. How do you sleep at night, attacking us, lying about us, and engaging in horrible, ridiculous, hyperbolic propaganda every day? Ask yourself that, Joy. And ask yourself why you had to lie about us and what we said yesterday in the show to try to get clicks on your website when what you actually did, or your Twitter account, is get a whole bunch of clicks for us. And by the way, thanks to the people who commented on that and pointed out to Joy Reid that, number 1, she got the quote wrong, and number 2, that's not exactly what we said. You lied about it, because that's what you do, Joy, because you're a liar. And that's what liars do. They lie. All right, I've wasted entirely too much time on Joy Reid. By the way, she says nobody watched. This is great. I don't know if you guys saw this. You guys in the production staff see that she wrote in someplace, oh, nobody watches their network. Apparently you do, because you commented on our network. May want to think before you tweet that next time. Kind of dopey, right? All right, moving on. Talking about conflicts of interest in this Mueller probe and everything that's going on with the raiding of Trump's personal attorney. I've got some really, really deep rabbit hole type stuff I'm going to get to you today. But this was an interesting angle I saw yesterday on the Sean Hannity story. Let me just put this out there. I am a friend to Sean Hannity. I'm not name dropping or anything like that. I've known him for a long time. He's done incredible things for me and a lot of other friends of mine. He's a great guy. But they raided the office of Donald Trump's attorney, Michael Cohen, and it turns out that Michael Cohen had provided some legal advice for Sean Hannity. And you can listen to Sean's show for an explanation on it. I see nothing nefarious at all with it. Of course, the left-wing media wanted to attack Sean Hannity for it. But what's fascinating is one of the judges the judge in the case, that when they were at a proceeding yesterday, demanded that the name of one of Cohen's clients Michael Cohen's clients be released. It was Trump's attorney. Well, one of those clients was Sean Hannity, which of course elicited an unbelievable and ridiculous response from the left. But look at who this federal judge is. You want to talk about conflicts? Put up that story first. This is just, you can't make this up. You're like, well, why do we have a story up about billionaire George Soros' wedding? It's his third, by the way. Because who was the judge who officiated at the wedding? We highlighted it for you. Federal Judge Kimball Wood officiated at the non-denominational wedding. That's the same judge who demanded Hannity's name be released yesterday in court. By the way, officiating at the most prominent far-left, radical liberal financier known to humankind, George Soros. But yes, I'm sure she's just a down-the-middle moderate, but nonpartisan judge. Nothing to worry about there, folks. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that we have to deal with every day. That, judicial activism, people in black robes taking over and, although not in this case legislating from the bench, making a decision that's totally outrageous. Outing Sean Hannity for what? Asking a lawyer about some, as he said, some real estate advice in court so that everybody can humiliate him? This is unbelievable. Just incredible stuff. All right, this story is let's get to the main core of the show today. No guests today because I had a lot to get to on this. Folks, the Mueller special counsel, if you watched last week's show, has been a sham so far. Listen, I'm not attacking Bob Mueller personally. I want to be clear on what I'm doing here. I'm trying to set up for you that if you were going to investigate the President of the United States for a Russian collusion fairy tale you cannot prove, that the least you could have done is to find an investigator on the case that was independent of any conflicts. Bob Mueller is deeply, deeply conflicted. I think it's episode 30 of my show, if you watch it in our library at NRATV.com, where you can see the first part of this. You don't need to have seen that, though, for this to make sense. Put up my first screenshot from a Law and Crime article, Dan Abrams' blog. Look at this, folks. Mueller witness George Nader's attorney vehemently denies he fled the country after being granted immunity. Stop here. Who is George Nader? This guy you see on the screen who's cooperating in a Mueller case, George Nader, is a fixer. George Nader has been around politics and has been trying to ingratiate himself into political circles for a long time. He set up a meeting, as this next screenshot will show, a couple of meetings actually. This is from the same article. Nader's widely believed to have orchestrated a December meeting at Trump Tower, you can see who attended, Flynn, Kushner, and Bannon, with bin Zayed from the UAE. This is important, this second part, though. Nader is also believed to have organized a controversial meeting in the Seychelles during which, remember these names, don't forget this, during which Eric Prince and others, including Kirill Dmitriev, chief executive officer of the Russian, remember this name, Russian Direct Investment Fund, met with bin Zayed. So just to be clear here, Nader, who's some kind of a fixer, some kind of political insider, he sets up a meeting between Eric Prince, the former owner of Blackwater, whose sister, by the way, is Betsy DeVos, who's the education secretary. Nader sets up this meeting between Eric Prince and this Russian guy who runs a Russian Direct Investment Fund. Now, here's where it gets really, really weird. Why would Mueller be investigating that meeting? Keep in mind, Nader set it up between Prince and this Russian, Nader. Why would they do that? And why would they be investigating that? Let me play for you an interview, this is going to blow your mind, that Eric Prince did with Breitbart News Radio on Sirius XM back in 2016 where he talks about some damning information a source told him they had on the Anthony Weiner computer about Hillary Clinton and the Democrats. We had to cut it for time, but play that audio clip.
NYPD wanted to do a press conference announcing the warrants and the additional arrests they were making in this investigation, and they've gotten huge pushback to the point of coercion from the Justice Department, with the Justice Department threatening to charge someone that had been unrelated in the accidental heart attack death of Eric Garner, the guy almost 2 years ago.
That's important. Think about what he just said. This is Eric Prince, who's a very wealthy guy. He had started Blackwater. He says a friend of his, a contact, a source, told him that the NYPD had found information. I had to cut the beginning for time because of the show, but they had found upwards of 650,000 emails on one of Hillary Clinton's basically right-hand women, Huma Abedin, her home computer. Remember the Wienergate scandal? I know you can't even say that without laughing. Anthony Weiner was sexting this young woman, this underage woman. Weiner's Abedin's husband. Huma Abedin is Hillary Clinton's right-hand woman. Apparently, some of these emails on Hillarygate, the Hillary email scandal, that were sent over a private server, wound up on this guy's computer that the NYPD was looking into for his activities with this underage young lady. Prince says a source told him that the NYPD notified the FBI and told them that they were going to go public about some information that was found on that computer that was very damaging to Democrats. Information about flights Hillary had taken and Bill had taken with Jeffrey Epstein, information about potential money laundering. Again, this is not my allegations, they're his. I couldn't play the whole interview for you, but it's up on, if you want to hear the whole thing, you can just Google Prince Breitbart interview. You can hear it. It's 13 minutes long. We couldn't play the whole thing for the show. I'm just playing for you the juicy portion where he says the NYPD was basically telling the FBI, hey, listen, we're going to go public right before the election with all this damaging information. He then says, this is Eric Prince, the same guy, that guy Nader organized the meeting for. Pay attention to the names. This will make sense in a minute for you. Prince says the NYPD was going to do that. The NYPD was going to set up. They had all this damaging information, but the Justice Department, led by Loretta Lynch, a Clinton friend, the Justice Department called them and threatened them and basically coerced them into making this thing go away. And they used as a cudgel, as a threat, that case of Eric Garner, who was the big guy who was selling loose cigarettes, who there was a chokehold involved. You may remember the case. If you don't, he died. He had a heart attack, and there were some allegations of unnecessary use of force. So he's saying that the Department of Justice called the NYPD, basically threatened them, and made that unless they made this press conference they were going to do on all this information they found out about the Clintons go away. This is Prince, Eric Prince, talking about this on the radio. All of a sudden, a meeting gets set up by this shady businessman, Nader, with Prince, and Prince becomes the target of the Mueller probe? Folks, I've given you my theory from the start, that this Mueller operation is nothing more than a smokescreen to make all the Clinton and Obama scandals go away. Because he is so deeply, horribly conflicted in this case, it is impossible for him to make an independent decision. Now you may be saying to yourself, okay, we've established the premise. What's the conflict? I got to scoot down a little bit. I keep making the production staff crazy by creeping my head up. Let's just reset where we are. Shady businessman sets up a meeting in the Seychelles. That's now the subject of the Mueller investigation, Bob Mueller. Sets up this meeting with Eric Prince, who has information very damaging to the Clintons from a source and spoke about it on the radio. This shady businessman sets up a meeting with Prince and this Russian, Kirill Dmitriev. Who's this Russian? Kirill Dmitriev. Get ready to have your eggs totally scrambled. We're going to cook your bagels here. Put up the next screenshot. The meeting is with Kirill Dmitriev, who is the CEO of the Russian Direct Investment Fund. Now, read this from Salon.com. Salon, a left-leaning website. This is about the Clinton machine. This is not a conservative website. In his report on the Clinton machine, oh, where'd it go? Put that back up. I didn't finish reading it yet. I got to read the rest of it. You guys having technical difficulties or something over there? There we go. Nice. Sorry. In his report on the Clinton machine's ties to Saudi Arabia, Issakoff, who's an author, also notes that two of the Clinton lobbyist bundlers, this guy Sullivan and Jones, get a load of this. This is crazy. Are principals at a firm that until late last year represented the Russia Direct Investment Fund, a sovereign wealth fund co-founded by Vladimir Putin when he was prime minister. Oh, interesting. Fascinating. So a guy who's cooperating with Mueller, this guy George Nader, sets up a meeting after, by the way, Prince goes public with this negative information on the Clintons, sets up a meeting with Prince and a Russian who's tied to the Russian Direct Investment Fund that's being represented by two Clinton bundlers? Wait, what? Listen, folks, if Bob Mueller's investigating this meeting because of the Clintons and what the Clintons did and how the Clintons were connected to it, God bless him. If he's not, this is a big-time conflict of interest. Now, here's where the conflict comes in. Who do you think is George Nader, the guy who set this up? Who do you think is his lawyer? Remember, I'm not talking slow because I think any of you are stupid. Please, I love my audience to death. I just don't want you to leave in any way confused. Nader sets up this meeting between Eric Prince, who has damaging information on the Clintons, and a guy connected to an investment fund represented by two Clinton bundlers. Does this sound like a setup operation to you? That someone was being framed? You want me to scramble even more of your eggs? Who's the lawyer representing the guy, Nader, who set this whole thing up? Put up the other screenshot. Oh, Catherine Rumler, one of Nader's attorneys. Oh, you may say, well, that doesn't mean anything to me. Who's Catherine Rumler? Put up the next screenshot. There we go. Catherine Rumler, who rejoined the firm in 2014 after serving almost 6 years in, wait, what? Hold on, what does that say? In the Obama administration, I'm not having a hard time reading, I'm just playing a game for you. First in the Department of Justice, and later as counsel to the president. Oh my gosh. Whew. How did that happen? That's crazy. So Barack Obama's White House lawyer is the guy who set up this meeting between a Russian connected to Clinton bundlers and a guy who had information negative about the Clintons, harshly negative, horrendously negative information about the Clintons, and went public with it. And now they're the subject of Bob Mueller's special counsel probe. Wow. Folks, you can't make this up. Keep in mind, you can challenge my speculation here that this Mueller probe is an effort to wipe all of this clean and, to pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Make no mistake what I'm telling you. My theory on this, based on, watch episode 30, watch what I did on Friday in the NRATV show, so it'll be 31 after that. I have no problem having done extensive research. I'm writing a book on this thing now. That this Mueller probe is a smokescreen. That the Trump team was set up. The guy who set up the meeting is being represented by Obama's actual lawyer, Catherine Rumler. She was the counselor to the White House for Barack Obama. She's representing the guy who set up the meeting with the Russian who's represented by two Clinton bundlers. And by the way, they're being investigated now, Prince, for that meeting. Guys, ladies, I mean, it doesn't take a genius to figure this out. And by the way, Rumler, just in case you missed Friday's shows, I want to get on to my final thoughts, but tie this thing up for you in a neat little package, right? Catherine Rumler has a history with Bob Mueller. She knows Bob Mueller. She was picked by Bob Mueller when Bob Mueller was the FBI director in the Enron task force to work with Andrew Weissman to lead the Enron task force. Andrew Weissman is now the #2 man on the special counsel investigation into Trump. They all know each other. They all know each other. They are so deeply conflicted. He has a personal relationship. He knows these people. He knows the people representing the people who set up this meeting between Prince, who had this information, and a Russian who was, at some point, his fund was represented by Clinton bundlers. Listen, I get it. If you're a lefty media type, you can chalk all this up to conspiracy theory stuff. But I did something during that segment intentionally. I used left-leaning and left-leaning outlets and their articles to prove my point. You can disagree with the connections I made, but you can't disagree that they exist. This is all there. And I find it awfully odd that the only people who found themselves the target of an investigation, prosecution, handcuffs, and potential jail time have been Trump team members, while the Clintons' footprints are all over this thing. All right, folks, it was important to me to get that story out there. This case means a lot to me. Fourth Amendment should mean something. So should the First and the Second. All right, here's my final thoughts for today on a little bit of a positive note. Put up that screenshot from this article. I found this story to be absolutely fascinating, a little bit rewarding, too. Look at what's happening with red states. Exclusive new study finds red states have the best economic outlook in 2018. This is absolutely, totally, completely unsurprising. That was by Phil Wegman, by the way, Washington Examiner. To any conservative out there who understands, unsurprisingly, that things like low taxes, a light government burden on the regulatory front, and a generally permissive business environment will incentivize businesses to come into a state, establish their businesses, generate jobs, and generate tax revenue. It's not a big surprise, okay? It's only a big surprise to liberals who are constantly surprised by it. Now, I put up that chart of the states, by the way, just to show you how great some of these red states are doing and how poorly some of these blue states are doing. Number one, you'll see, is Utah. Number two, I think it's Idaho up there. Idaho. And look, I'm down in Florida, southern Florida. We're all the way at number 6. Texas, I love you. We got to work on that a little bit, 14. But look at California. With Silicon Valley and all of that wonderful innovation, California all the way down at 47. New York, a dreadful number, 50. What is Illinois? 48. Yeah, folks, there's a common pattern here. And it's only surprising to liberals. You raise taxes, you take money out of people's pockets, you burden them with red tape, you burden them with regulatory requirements, you make them hire a bunch of lawyers and accountants to negotiate the weave of horrendous government overreach into their business lives, and you know what they're going to do? Well, I can tell you what they're not going to do. They're not going to expand their businesses in your state. And it shouldn't be a secret, by the way, that there's a mass exodus of money and income out of California and New York into states like Nevada, Texas, and Florida, where money can generate more money, generate jobs, and generate wealth. Again, this is only surprising to liberals. Sorry, I was going to cover this yesterday, but we ran out of time. But it goes to show you, our policies work, folks. They work. It's only surprising to liberals. Hey, thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Thanks for follows on Twitter. There we are down there, at Dan Bongino. We're at NRATV.com. At NRATV as well on Twitter. Please retweet our tweets. We really appreciate it. And comment away. I try to read as much as I can on both Facebook and Twitter. I enjoy your comments, so thanks a lot. I'll see you all tomorrow.